What's up, travelers? It's Prinston Hicks coming to you from the Cineverse. I'm out here in Los Angeles, California, in the Beverly Hills. Let me ask you, are you a hobbyist or are you a professional? Now, in one of my previous videos, I talked about the 5 reasons you don't get your business started and really what's holding you back. And one of the main reasons was unrealistic expectations. Now, that's similar to this concept, which is the hobbyist versus the professional. And I want to talk about some of those reasons and how people kind of view their business and what's holding them back. So I wanted to talk about this concept because when working with a lot of people in business or when I work with clients, one of the biggest things holding them back is their unrealistic expectations. But more specifically, they're approaching their business in a hobbyist mindset. Now, similar to this concept, you can read a book called The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. He talks about this concept as being an amateur versus being a pro. But I call it the hobbyist because mainly people kind of do their business on the side. It's something that they're doing. They're not really taking it that serious. And I think it's this mindset approaching business that causes a lot of people to fail. Now, what is being a hobbyist? Now, the hobbyist is a person who not only is going to put in a couple of hours with their business, they're not going to really take it all the way. They're not going to get serious and do all the things they need to do in order to expand their business. So let's take a typical job. You work 40 hours a week. That's the average job. Unless it's part-time, you work about 40 hours a week. Now you take that same person and you say, let's start a business. And when you start talking to them, they're enthusiastic. I'm ready to do this. I want to start a business. But soon what you find is after putting in a couple hours, they just stop and they go back to their regular routine. And why is that? Because they have not taken their business serious. They're still looking at their business as a hobby. Now, this is different from the professional who is taking his business as serious as if it was a regular job or if they were working for somebody else. They're taking it just as serious working for themselves. And this is why I call it a professional. A professional is somebody who takes their business serious and is not making any excuses, or they're not just doing it on the side. So what's some of the differences between the hobbyist and the professional? One of the biggest differences between the professional and the hobbyist is also the way they learn or the way they approach their business. Now, this all goes back in the mindset. Now, one of the mindsets of the professional is to approach everything they're doing as a learning experience. Now, a lot of the hobbyists, they do something, they receive some type of failure. It's not even a catastrophic failure, and they just quit. They just give up because, once again, this is not something they're taking that serious. But if the professional, he approaches the same situation because he's taking his business serious or he's taking it to a high degree, he's saying, oh, I'm going to make sure that this works, so I'm going to learn from the experience instead of quitting. Now, this is one of the biggest mind state shifts I see between becoming from the hobbyist mindset to the professional mindset. And I think it's one of the biggest reasons that a lot of people quit in business because they weren't really taking it serious to begin with. Now, another thing I want to talk about is resistance. Now, this is another big concept from Steven Pressfield's The War of Art. And that's an excellent book. I recommend it to anybody that they should read it. Now, The War of Art, it talks about the idea of resistance. And what is resistance? Resistance is when you're sitting in bed and the alarm clock goes off, you hit the snooze button, or you have something to do, or you have a deadline to meet and you just simply don't meet it. Now, everything in between it that's causing you not to do it, or that's causing you not to do what you know you should be doing, that's resistance. Now, all of us feel resistance. Everybody feels resistance. Anytime you're doing something new or something that's outside your comfort zone, you're going to feel some type of resistance to it. You don't want to do it. Now, that not wanting to do it or that resistance is what's ultimately keeping you from reaching your ultimate goals. Now, this is one of the biggest mindset differences between the hobbyist and the professional. The professional, he feels resistance, just like the hobbyist feels resistance. But the only difference between the professional and the hobbyist is the hobbyist just surrenders to their resistance. In the professional, they fight through the resistance. So let's take something, putting yourself out there, or one of the things that people are scared of the most in business, say for instance, like a cold call, or just a new situation. People don't want to do it. Now, that's because maybe they'll fail, maybe people will reject them, or whatever the case may be, but that's all in resistance. Now, once you pass the resistance, you become a professional. It doesn't matter about the roadblocks, it doesn't matter about the barriers. You take action on it anyway, and you fight through the resistance, and that's how you ultimately come from the hobbyist mindset into the professional mindset. To wrap this up, I wanted to talk about the difference between the hobbyist and the professional because this is the biggest reason I see why everybody or most people fail when it comes to businesses. They just don't take their business serious. Ask yourself that question. Are you taking your business serious, or is it just a hobby you're doing? Something cool you could tell your friends or you can talk about. You know, you get your registration, you get your paperwork, and you say, oh, I'm in business. But being in business is more than doing paperwork and knowing a bunch of technical skills. It's the emotional trauma that you have to overcome in order to get to your results. And that's one of the biggest differences between the hobbyist and between the professional. The professional is not going to stop no matter what. no matter what adversity, no matter what comes in their way, they're going to continue forward. If they feel resistance or they don't know something, they figure it out. And that's one of the biggest differences that you'll see between a lot of people in businesses that don't succeed and the businesses that do succeed. They just simply had the mental fortitude to go through the things that need to be, or go through the events or the trauma they need to go to in order to reach their ultimate success. Now, hope this video has been helpful to you. If there's any topics you want to hear me discuss on this video blog, send a link to this email, and always like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.